What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the GameFreak. Today we are going to take another look at an Evercade cart and do a re-review, and that cart is the Atari Arcade 1 collection. This cart has 13 games on it. It has Asteroids Deluxe, Canyon Bomber, Centipede, Crystal Castles, Liberator, Lunar Lander, Millipede, Missile Command, Night Driver, Pong, Skydiver, Super Breakout, and Warlords. Now, we are going to jump in and take a quick look at all 13 of these games. I will let you know what I think of this cart, and I will give it a grade, A through F, A being the best, F being the worst, and I will let you know at the end of the video how I feel about this. So, let's jump into these games real quick. So the first game on the cart is Asteroids Deluxe, and I think Evercade might have messed up on this because I don't believe this is Asteroids Deluxe. I think this is the original Asteroids for the arcade, which isn't a big deal. It's just a mess up on the name. Fun game, man. I enjoyed playing this game on the 2600 and at the arcades as a kid, so I really enjoyed going back and playing this game. The next game is Canyon Bomber. I was never a big fan of this game. Basically, all you do is drop some bombs on these numbers, well, these balls with numbers, and you try to get a high score. Kind of a boring game. There's nothing really real fun about it. It's just a time killer, I guess. It's all about timing with this game. Nothing real spectacular, but I know a lot of people do like this game. Just not really a big fan of this. The next game is one of the first games I ever played at the arcade, and that is Centipede. Now, this game is a lot of fun. However, not playing it with a trackball. I mean, you need a trackball to play games like this. So that kind of took the fun out of it, but it's still Centipede, and it has like a special place in my heart since it was one of the first games that I ever played on an arcade machine. So it was pretty fun. The next game is Crystal Castles. I'm not a huge fan of this game. I know a lot of people do like it. This version, I don't know, it just controls a little bit weird, and it might just be the angle and, the year this game was made. It's just one of those games I don't think it holds up real well. If you're into stuff like this, cool, but not really for me. It looks really good for its time, though. The next game is Liberator, and I'm just honestly not a real big fan of this game at all. I mean, it's kind of like almost a 3D version of Missile Command in a way, is what it reminds me of. But I don't know. I don't hate this game, but I didn't love it either. I mean, I guess it's a good time killer. And the next game is Lunar Lander. I never liked this game. I think it is totally boring. It's just a real slow-paced game, and honestly, it's pretty frustrating when it comes to controlling this game. I'm just not a big fan of this. If you are, cool. Maybe you'll enjoy it. But it's the real deal, man. It's the real Lunar Landing. It's the real arcade version, so have fun with this. The next game is Millipede, and Millipede is pretty much Centipede on crack. Or I shouldn't say crack, on steroids. This game is hard as hell, and it's another one of those games that you just don't get the full experience of it if you're not using a trackball. But man, I used to love this game, but it is super, super hard. So, hopefully have good patience, because when it comes to games like that, I didn't. And Missile Command is the next game. This was one of my favorite games. In fact, I think it's in I would say my top 10 favorite games on the Atari. I used to love this game. I don't remember ever playing this at the arcade. So when I got this was the first time I played the arcade version, but I loved it on the 2600. Loved this version. A whole lot of fun. The next game is Night Driver, and I can't take credit for this gameplay right here. Whoever this was playing, is amazing because if I go past first gear, I'm hitting these white posts all the time. It controls terrible. It's just a bad game. I don't recommend this game at all. I mean, I had no fun with it, so that's up to you. We're going to skip Pong and go right to Skydiver. This is another game that I just thought was kind of a bore fest. I mean, you pretty much just have to, it's another timing game. You jump out of the airplane, you have to try to land between the two flags. Nothing spectacular, but you know, it was Atari. That was the best we had back then. So you can't expect like anything super crazy technology wise. And the next game is Breakout, and this is just another one of those games. It kind of reminds me of Pong, but instead you have to knock these blocks out. I'm really not into games like this. I know a lot of people are. You know what it kind of reminds me of? There was a game in the 80s called Gnip Gnop, and it kind of reminds me of that. I remember playing that as a kid, but yeah, this game I didn't like on the 2600, and I really didn't care for it on the arcade either. And the last game is Warlords, and I'm not really a big fan of this either, but I know tons of people loved this game. So, hey, if you're a Warlords fan, this is gonna make you happy. I just really wasn't a fan of anything like this. It's pretty much Breakout on crack. Alright, so those are the 13 games on this cart. Now, I'm just gonna let you know right now, Atari was the very first console I ever had, was the 2600. So Atari does have a special place in my heart, but I'm also a realist. I'm not gonna lie, Atari games just they don't hold up well at all, and a lot of these games, or quite a few of them anyway on here, you either need to play these games to get like that true feeling of the game, like with the trackball or paddles. I skipped Pong on this because Pong on this is absolutely awful. There's like no other way to like say it nicely. It's fucking horrible on this cart, especially with the controller. And you know, I have my Evercade hooked up to my arcade machine, so I even tried it with, you know, my arcade stick and stuff, and it still just controls horrible. It was absolutely no fun. What was it? Liberator, which is weird because I love Missile Command, but Liberator, for some reason, I just didn't enjoy it at all. I mean, obviously it looks better than Missile Command, but it doesn't play real good. In fact, none of these games on here really play real well. So it kind of hurts because I do like Atari, and it's going to sound like I just hate Atari. I don't hate Atari. But I wish they would have had like a better collection of games on here. I don't think the collection of games on here were good at all. You know, Centipede, Millipede, Missile Command, great games. Love all three of those. Asteroids, that played fine. That played good no matter what, with the arcade stick or the controller. That is the one game that played perfectly fine. Missile Command, definitely with the controller, not the arcade stick, which is just weird. But man, the rest of the games, they just played really bad, and it sucks. I wish they would have had, like, I don't know, more popular arcade Atari games on here, and they didn't. They just, I don't know, they fell short on this, and it sucks because I'm a huge arcade fan. I love these purple carts, but unfortunately, I have to give this a D. It's just not that good of a cart. I don't recommend it. I want all the arcade carts, so I bought it anyway, and I didn't have high hopes when I bought this cart. I have said in previous videos, when it comes to Atari, as much as I like it, that excitement factor with Atari games, for me anyway, is kind of gone. When I was younger, I could play these games for hours. Now, it's like 15 minutes max. Besides, like, when I still had my game station hooked up, I could play, what the hell was it? Dark Chambers, the 7800 version. I actually sat and played that for like an hour. I loved it. It was a lot of fun, but as far as these games go, I would have probably got more enjoyment out of not Pac-Man, but Millipede and Centipede if I had a trackball. It would be really cool if Evercade came out with something like that. It'd probably raise this cartridge grade up for me anyway. And that's yeah, just not really that good of a cart. So I gotta give it a D, unfortunately. So I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps out this channel a lot, and I greatly appreciate it. And until the next video, game on, everybody.